it should be philosophically driven, and that's that we're not talking about my journey tonight, but I've always looked for things that made sense and were coherent. So when a very dear man to me in 2008 or 9 said, "I don't understand how somebody can be a libertarian, pro-life, and a Christian and not be all three," and I went, "Wow, that might be the most profound thing that was ever spoken to me directly." I've read some pretty profound stuff, but that really tightened everything up for me to a point where I'm completely philosophically comfortable with everything that I'm doing. And that's a beautiful place to be, because the people that you're describing, Adam, and even yourself for a long time, the Republican and Democratic parties are not philosophically coherent.
No.
They
I
do
think that's a
survive by being
piece that
being
most people
cultural.
will never know. I think that most people will never know that piece because they can't differentiate these different aspects of their life.
And it depends on what they value, right, Kristen? And everyone else, feel free
Absolutely.
to jump in. If you value a sound philosophy and an understanding that everyone should be operating under the same rules and leaving each other alone and making their own decisions, then you can't help but be attracted to being a libertarian. But to Adam's point, there's a lot of culture bound up with, like, the patriotism, that the Republican patriotism is part of their culture, right? And they even use and abuse Christianity as part of their culture. It's
Well,
a
and
heresy,
say
really, but
I would actually say they totally misuse Christianity for their own political gain. Like, it, if you actually think the Republican Party gives a damn about Christians, you are totally fooling yourself. Like, they placate for votes, but what did they ever do for Christians? Like, you look, and this is political, but it's like their you look at their foreign policy strategy. They're
mm-hmm,
killing Christians all
mm-hmm,
over the world,
mm-hmm.
and you want the Christian vote in your own country to support an imperialist agenda that kills Christians all over the world. Like, that alone should be, maybe if I'm Christian, I shouldn't be supporting this party.
Yeah, and this is a whole other podcast probably, or more, but this misunderstanding of the religion that people ascribe to, and pulling out Old Testament quotes out of context to support things like even the support of the state of Israel right now is false in terms of a biblical Christian concept. It's just not, it's not there. Paul himself said it, that the church is the new Israel or whatever. But because people aren't challenging the Republicans' definition of Christianity, or the whatever, however you want to characterize it, or don't know, or it just makes them feel good, whatever that is, it's powerful. And so, of course, any party is going to use that to win votes. Well, not any party, but the two big parties do that to win votes. It's just two separate religious points of view, really. One is bound up in this false Christianity, and the other one is a false humanism, of worship of the human being as somehow being transcendent or all-knowing or all-kind or not fallen and not broken and not sinful. And
Yeah, and
everything about it should be
ironically,
celebrated, right? That's the other side of it, is that no matter what humans do, it's okay, it's normal, it should be celebrated. And that's, as libertarians, we understand that people are allowed to live their lives however they choose. We're not judging, we're not regulating, but that doesn't mean that things get celebrated or equated as being normal or healthy either. But those are the two competing, and I guess they are religions, right? The religion of man and the religion of false Christianity are competing, while those of us who know better, not to pat ourselves on the back too hard, but are left wondering what the hell. Well, not what the hell's wrong with these people, but kind of, that's the way I think about it. Like, have you
it
read the
kind
New
of seems like
Testament?
they're
Have
it kind of
you read,
seems like they're
just
both
everyone
kind
should
of.
just read the Sermon on the Mount. That's it. Just read the words in red in the Gospels and stick to that, and not worry about all that other stuff. And you're good to go. You're good to go. And you're probably a libertarian then too.
I mean, if you
I've
think about it though too, it kind of seems like both sides of the uniparty are kind of worshiping a false god at the same time. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, look at the Trump supporters.
Yeah.
Look at how they make these relics of him. Look at the T-shirts
Oh,
and all these other propaganda
Lord.
items that they make. It's crazy.
And it's
But at
worse
the same
now.
time, yeah,
Now that he's
it just
bulletproof.
continues to elevate. And
Now that God protected him from getting hit or getting killed, it's
yeah,
all over.
yeah, and I mean, thank God he didn't get hurt worse. You never wish ill will on someone, but the Democrats aren't any better. I mean, look at this. And I'm ironically, I have the RNC on just as background noise on my TV. They just had a priest up there blessing Trump. Like, it's just irony to the max.
yeah. I want to say, so while there's a lot of focus on religion, in a broader picture, it's not just religion that gets adopted for political reasons. It's traditions in general. Political parties just scavenge through things that, whether you're a liberal or a conservative, anything that's a tradition to you, whether it's Christmas, a holiday of any kind, something you do with your family, these are all targets for political reasons. And of course, religion is at the top of that traditional pyramid because it gets passed on regularly. But
It's an
for
easy
people who are
target.
non-religious, it's traditions in general that get co-opted by political movements of all kinds.
Well, even this veneration of the flag, which is, borders on religious. They want everyone, in particular conservatives, expect you to stand up and put your hand over your heart or salute the flag or whatever during the Star Spangled Banner, while at the same time they're wearing like shorts and have it on their wallet and have it on their underwear and have it, it just doesn't make any sense. None of that, they want other people to subscribe to it without having to practice it themselves. And that's the ultimate hypocrisy.
I think, though, everything, and this is where I think everything, I don't know if everything, but I think you can look at the two-party system and just see hypocrisy through and through. Because one thing I believe is they put party over people. And they will use people for their political gain. But at the end of the day, they're always going to put party over people. And I've seen that time and time again over the last 20-some years. They will always put the organization of the party over people. And that in and of itself should send or create a logical person should look at that and go, it should be the other way around, people over politics. And, when Gary Johnson, I think, was running for governor, he actually had that, something similar to that. I think he said people above politics or something was like that was his campaign slogan. But it's so true. Like, we need to be putting people above a political party.
Well, even within the parties, we've just this last 6 months, what we've seen Wisconsin GOP do in terms of disregarding their county affiliates, not, avoiding real primaries, not listening to the grassroots.
They never have. We're just seeing it on a grander stage now.
Yeah, it's more brazen now. It's always happened, I'm sure, but now, just the brazen rules they've created to clear a path for Eric Hovde. In particular, just as the one example, but the maltreatment, I argue, of people that offered themselves to run for various offices as Republicans, and for some reason, it does. A lot of the party was, all the parties probably going to still support that, right? Because they don't want to leave that abusive relationship, even though they can see even though many of them, probably, I don't know, 15 or 20% people statewide support Rajani for Senate, but and see that how poorly she's treated and see how sincere she is and how real she is. And as soon as that primary happens and she's like all the way off the ballot and all the way out of contention officially, they'll just roll right over for Hovde. And you can transpose those names to any other race where there was voluntary people running to compete, but the chosen people are always the ones that get the path cleared for them. And it doesn't matter what the voters or the people or the individuals want. And I'm sure I know it's the same for the Democratic Party too, but that's not the subject tonight. I just want to make that disclaimer every now and again that we're not, because once this gets out, Adam, we're going to catch some stuff for laying it bare in a whole podcast.
We've only touched the surface. So if we really want to piss people off, I can share a lot more.
Well, I know, and I don't want to cut this short at all, but at all. Is there anything else you want to share of things more recent, like your experience on the Wood County Board or whatever that are?
No, I'll share a couple more things. So you did mention Ron Paul. Like for me,